Okay, let's just focus on to this now. Uganda is South Africa's 15th largest trading partner on the continent and the second largest in East Africa. President Yoweri Museveni's state visit this week was directed at consolidating bilateral relations between South Africa and the East African nation, with discussions between the two heads of state encompassing geopolitical issues. We get into some of the utterances of both presidents. We're now joined by journalist Michael Arerang. He is joining us from Kampala in Uganda. Michael, thank you very much for availing yourself this morning. Let's take a listen at this first, at what the president of Uganda had to say about the United Nations Human Rights Office closing in that country. We're back with you in a few moments. Please hang 10 for us. Okay, I understand we do not have... Okay, there it is. Let's take a listen at this.
This freelance something it even confuses our people. They don't know where, if they have complaint, they don't know where to go to this one of exotic or the other one. So please, to simplify for them, we say please, there's only one Human Rights Commission in Uganda. This is the one in the Constitution. Others, you go and do something else. There's a lot of need for those groups in the world. They can go to Iraq, they can go to Afghanistan, they are not short of people where there are problems. Uganda is not one of them.
Michael Arerang is in Kampala for us. Michael, thank you again for joining us. Witnessing and hearing Yoweri Museveni this week, I could not reconcile the man that one reads about to the man that I saw speaking, who was somewhat funny, somewhat charming, somewhat wise. When he speaks about the United Nations Human Rights Office closing in Uganda, as Uganda has its own, what do we need to know or understand about what is facing the people of Uganda? We understand he is, or from what we read at least, he is somewhat of a dictator.
Sort of a dictator, yes. And actually, President Yoweri Museveni actually is not happy with the UN Human Rights Commission, because the Human Rights Commission was actually doing a very commendable job, first of all, in exposing what has been happening here in Uganda, especially the violence taking place here in Uganda, especially the torture of the opposition, members of parliament, and also from the political parties like the National Unity Party, which is being led by Bobby Wine, and also Forum for Democratic Change. And the Human Rights Commission here in Uganda, as Museveni stated, he said that it can do wonders. But so many observers here, they say that Museveni is trying to hide something, because he doesn't want Uganda to be exposed wide, because his fears is that the Human Rights Commission, the UN Human Rights Commission, was tarnishing the image of his government. So that is why he didn't want to renew their stay here in Uganda.
How would you characterize life for the everyday Baganda in terms of the quality of life, right? Because he mentioned something. He said even a lazy man can survive or succeed in Uganda. Is that accurate?
No, it's not accurate, because people are suffering. People are living a very terrible life here in Uganda. Because, for example, some of them, they have only one meal per day, not 2 meals as other countries. And life is very difficult, especially for a common person, because like for a peasant, even getting salt, sugar, soap becomes a problem. But to him, he says that Uganda has attained the middle class. But I can tell you that though he said that Uganda has attained the middle class, still Uganda is still lagging behind. People are poor, And there are so many poor people here in Uganda than the rich people.
He also spoke of building a new force. Let's take a look, listen at this.
My young brother, who is... How old are you, Your Excellency?
I'm 70.
Oh, this is a decent distance behind me. So these young people, these ones here, when some of us are still here, we can help you to build a new force. To build a new force of patriotism, because now neo-colonialism has failed. Neo-colonialism has failed. People in Mali, people in Burkina Faso, people in Nigeria itself. Nigeria. Everywhere they are harvesting the bad fruits of neo-colonialism.
From what you have just described in terms of what is faced by the everyday person on the ground, is this just sweet talk, this speak of the young and the old collaborating to build a new force?
I can say that the majority of the youth here in Uganda, they are jobless. They finish university level, they graduate from the universities, but getting a job is not an easy thing. And that's where we talk about nepotism. When we talk about good governance here in Uganda, it is still lacking because most of the people are corrupt. And I can say that Museveni himself is trying to instill fear among the people in order to rule the country. So the majority of the youth here are really suffering. They have no jobs, and yet they are the majority. And, you know, even when you talk about the jobs in government, it's only few people who are considered. More especially, that's when also tribalism comes. Because most of the people who are getting scholarships, for example, they are from the western region where the president comes from. And also, I can say that most of the youth are actually suffering, and that's why they travel to other countries like the Middle East, where they work as security guards, they work as truck drivers. So most of the youth actually here in Uganda, they have no jobs, and they are not living a comfortable life.
And then he touched on geopolitics, the situation between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, going as far as saying that Felix Tshisekedi should decide what he is. Let's take a look, listen at this bite.
You need to decide, are you on the side of the traitors, or are you on the side of the freedom fighters? Because that's how they end up. They just come, they end up being nothing. Because traitors cannot be, the first thing, the traitors cannot build an army. No. They can't build a national political party because they are sectarian, tribes, religion. Because of that, they can't build an army.
What do we need to understand about Uganda's contribution to diffusing tensions between the DRC and Rwanda?
Well, it's a long story. And fortunately, I was in Congo in 2000 and between 2001 up to 2003, and I was actually in Bunia in Ituri region where there were tribal clashes, and Uganda Army went to try to pacify that region. So during the process, most of the people died because the militia groups, there are so many there in Democratic Republic of Congo. The contribution of Uganda, what I can say right now, it has sent its troops to Democratic Republic of Congo since last year, and they have succeeded actually in beating off the rebels of the ADF, that is the Alliance Democratic Forces, who have been disturbing and also killing Congolese people and also Ugandans just at the border town there. So I can say that Uganda has tried its level best, just like in Somalia, to defeat the Al-Shabaab rebels. Also in DRC, in the eastern part, it has actually tried its level best because now there are few people who have been murdered in parts of Butembo and Beni districts in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. But what I can say right now is some of the Congolese are not happy for the Ugandan soldiers to be part of the peacekeeping force in DRC. They are saying that Uganda is supporting the rebels, the M23 rebels, so they are not happy of Uganda being taken to Congo. But at the same time, I can say that the most powerful army which is serving there in the Democratic Republic of Congo actually is Uganda. Kenya and other countries, Burundi, I can say that they are still new and they don't know much about the story of DRC. You know, when you take an army, remember you are fighting so many militia groups which have been operating in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. So the best approach actually is to have peace talk in order for both parties to reach a solution. Otherwise, the fighting will still continue because the militia are not going to give up.
Michael Arerang, we truly appreciate your time this morning.